Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Nicole Bonner with Healing Hands of Manahawkin. So, have any other parents out there been more concerned or just had a heightened awareness about where their children are at emotionally, dealing with all of the changes and newer stress that's been happening over the last 2 or 3 years? Because I know that I have. I'm a mom of two beautiful boys, mom before I am a chiropractor, and I have certainly been way more aware of how my boys are feeling, how are they dealing with the different stresses that are happening. And we all know the old cliche that children are people too. And I think that is important that we keep that in mind because I think a lot of times we just kind of go through our lives and we're really busy and we just go from task to task to task. And we forget that our little ones are sponges and they're our ears. And they're like, their little brains are just picking up everything that's happening around them. So over the last 3 years, we have seen more anxiety and trauma and depression and stress probably than ever before. I mean, ever before in my lifetime anyway. So I'm 46 years on the planet and 22 years in practice. And I don't think there has been a time in my practice career that I've seen so many people have heightened awareness and heightened stress. So with gas prices going up through the roof, inflation is up, stores are running out of basic products that we're so used to having. As Americans, we're so used to living a certain lifestyle and we're so used to having certain things that when they're not available to us, it's like a little bit of a culture shock. It's almost like a pattern interrupt where your body, you actually can feel it in your body, where your body kind of goes and your brain kind of goes, wait, what? Like tissues, toilet paper? Like these are just common everyday things that we took for granted, that we expect to be there, that are no longer there. And when that happens, the body is like a little bit in a shock, like the brain kind of gets in a shock, like we kind of go into protective mode. We almost go into scarcity. Actually, what we're doing is we go into scarcity mode, right? And that's why you see all these people that will run to the food store when we have world events. They'll run to the food store and they'll buy everything off the shelves because we get in a protective mode. And that's only natural, guys. That's natural. That's part of being a human being. Your number one priority and your brain's number one priority is protection. So it wants to protect you. You want to protect your family. And especially as mama bears and papa bears, the number one priority for us is protecting our children, right? But, have you ever thought about how your body is handling all this stress? What's happening to your physical body as the weight of the world literally sits on your shoulders? And what is the relationship between your stress and illness? So current medical research, this is really fascinating. Current medical research states that 95% of all disease illnesses are caused by stress. And only 5% of illnesses are caused by genetics. Now, this is really fascinating because we've actually been trained to think quite the opposite. We've been trained to think that, we don't have control over our illnesses, or we're victim to our illnesses. Or I hear people say, well, it just happened. I didn't do anything. It just happened. And many times when medical doctors or medical practitioners don't have a solution for you or a cause, there's always a cause and effect, by the way. You guys know that. I mean, that's like the whole basis of science is cause and effect, right? So, when a medical professional doesn't have a reason for you or they can't find the cause to your problem, they simply say, well, your mother had it and your grandfather had it and your this had it, and you have a lineage of, high blood pressure or cancer or depression or high cholesterol, whatever it may be. And they just blame it on genetics. And then people walk along thinking like, there's nothing I can do because it's just my genetics. Well, this medical research, medical science actually proves that wrong. Now, here's the good part about that. The good part about that is that if 95% of our illness comes from stress, then we have power over that. We have control over that. So we can become empowered knowing in our mind that we have control over our environment and how our body handles handles our environment. So as a chiropractor, so a lot of people say, well, what can you do as a chiropractor? Aren't you guys just bone doctors? And in fact, we are not bone doctors at all. We are actually more like nervous system doctors. So you ever hear people who have anxiety, they say, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous to take this test. I'm so nervous to pass this interview or whatever it may be, right? Well, why do people say I'm so nervous? Well, it's because your brain and your nervous system runs your body. Your brain and your nervous system control your body. And where does chiropractic come in? You're like, well, don't you adjust the spine? What does the spine have to do with your nervous system? Well, let me tell you, it has everything to do with your nervous system. Reason being is because the spine houses the spinal cord. In fact, it doesn't just surround the cord, it actually attaches to the cord. So when we have different stress, whether the stress is a chemical stress like a vaccination, whether the stress is a slip or a fall, or whether the stress is an emotional stress like being cut off on the parkway or something like that, those three different types of stresses cause the spinal bones to shift out of alignment. When the bones go out of alignment, the spinal cord goes with it because it's attached to it, right? So now when the spinal cord goes with the spinal bones out of place, what it does is it pulls and it stretches the cord. So if normal alignment is like this and your spine is sitting like this, it pulls the cord into that position. Now, what does that mean for you? Well, when the cord is tense, tight, or smashed as the bone shifts out of place, the energy traveling through the cord is diminished. The actual velocity of the nerve impulse decreases. And what that does is that weakens the body. So now the body becomes weak, it doesn't function properly, and it does not respond well to stress. That's why when people get stressed and their body begins to break down, that forms disease and forms illness in the body. So hopefully this helped you guys. And if you have any questions, please leave some comments below. We're more than happy to answer those questions for you. A lot of questions that we get about this is like, what do you do about that? Like, how do you actually find out? How do I find out if I have misalignments in my spine, or what we call subluxation? And if I do have misalignments, can they be fixed? And if they can be fixed, how do we do that? So we're more than happy to answer those questions for you. Just show us some love, and we will keep in touch. Many blessings, and we will talk to you soon.